Hey guys, Football Observer here, bringing you another transfer talk video. Yes, of course, you know by now, this is the video where I round up some of the biggest confirmed deals that have happened, and of course, some of the biggest rumours that are floating around out there in that rumour mill, as the transfer window is well and truly underway now and is heating up. So without further ado, let's begin. Our first story of this video takes us to Tottenham Hotspur, who yesterday confirmed that Joe Hart was said to be having a medical with the club yesterday. The 33-year-old goalkeeper is said to be nearing completion of a free transfer to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium after Spurs made it official that Hart was having a medical with the club yesterday. Of course, if you remember correctly, Hart was with Burnley last season. However, due to the impressive performances of Nick Pope, it restricted him to only making 3 appearances in all competitions. His contract did expire with the club at the end of this season, and despite rumoured interest from a few Premier League clubs elsewhere, it's Tottenham who seem to be very close to snapping up his signature. Now, I find this a bit of a strange call by both parties here. For Spurs, they already have 2 goalkeepers in Hugo Lloris and Paulo Gazzaniga, so unless they're planning on selling one on, it will be interesting to see where Hart fits in. And let's say that for argument's sake that it is the latter and that Gazzaniga is the one to be moved on. Hart struggled to play many games last season behind Nick Pope. How likely is it going to be that he's going to get more playing time playing behind Hugo Lloris? It'll be interesting to see how this develops, if this obviously is to come to fruition, and how Mourinho balances out having these 3 goalkeepers and what he decides to do with at least one of them. But what we do know is that Spurs are seemingly very close to making their second signing of this transfer window in Joe Hart, and we wait and see on confirmation of this deal. For our next story, we're off to Liverpool, as the rumoured deal of Thiago moving to Anfield seems to be edging closer if reports are to be believed. This is a story that's been floating around for a while now, as the Premier League champions' reported interest in Bayern midfielder Thiago has seemingly increased over recent weeks. After 7 years with the club, Thiago has said to be looking for a new challenge, and Bayern are said to be more than happy to sell him. The 29-year-old has always been a solid and consistent performer for the German Giants over the years, and this season alone he made 24 league appearances, but did miss the conclusion of the Bundesliga season through injury. But now it appears his time in Germany is coming to an end, as it's been reported over the past couple of days that personal terms and other little agreements and terms have been agreed, and all that remains now is for both parties, both Liverpool and Bayern, to settle on a transfer fee, which Bayern are still holding out for that £30 million mark, it's rumoured to believe. I'm a Liverpool fan, of course, so I'm really excited about this if this deal does come off. I've been an admirer of Thiago for a very long time, even back in his Barcelona days. I like his style and what he brings to a team with his passing ability, his vision, and as a creative playmaker, I think he does add something that maybe Liverpool do lack in midfield at times. And I just beg for Liverpool just to match, if it is £30 million price tag, just match that price tag if that's what legitimately what Bayern want. Because I think he's definitely worth it for everything that he has and every attribute that he possesses. So that is my prayer to Liverpool: buy Thiago, whatever the cost. Regardless, we wait and see how this story develops, but it could be an exciting transfer, this one, that's right around the corner for Liverpool. Sticking with Liverpool for our next story, the club came out yesterday with the news that young right-back Nico Williams has put pen to paper on a new 5-year contract. Williams enjoyed a partial breakout season for the Reds, in which he made a few appearances in cup competitions and made 6 league appearances that qualified the Welsh fullback for a Premier League winners' medal. The youngster has been brought up through Liverpool's youth system, and now it seems as though Jurgen Klopp is confident enough in him for him to be fully the backup to another Liverpool youngster. Of course, that man is named Trent Alexander-Arnold, another man who was brought up through the Liverpool ranks. Fans were happy enough with his contribution last season and enjoyed watching him. And what they could tell already was that this player does look very good and does seem to have a lot of potential behind him and ahead of him. The 19-year-old stated himself that he believes there's no better place to learn and become a better player than with Liverpool. So that is the news there, that Nico Williams has officially signed a 5-year contract extension with the Premier League champions. From good news to Liverpool fans to good news that could be right around the corner for Arsenal fans. Gunners striker and talisman Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang appears to be very, very, very close to extending his stay at the Emirates Stadium by putting pen to paper on a contract extension there. Aubameyang's contract was set to be up next year, and there were growing concerns and speculation over where his future lies. However, reports have come out over the past couple of days claiming that Aubameyang is very close to putting those rumours to bed and committing his future to the Gunners, and it seems to go hand in hand with Aubameyang's cryptic tweet he put out, in which he put out a tweet of an hourglass. Since signing for Arsenal in 2018, the Gabon striker has made 109 appearances, scoring 70 goals and assisting 15 times. Absolutely phenomenal stats, of course, and it seems that those stats will only continue to grow should the news be confirmed that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has signed a new contract extension with Arsenal. Our next story brings us to David Silva, and yesterday the news broke that the Spanish midfielder had signed for Real Sociedad on a free transfer. The Spanish midfielder, of course, left Manchester City at the end of this season following his contract expiring and, of course, following a 10-year stay with the club. And now, after a decade of being away from La Liga, he will return next season with Real Sociedad. Silva enjoyed a very successful time with City, helping them to 4 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups and 5 League Cups. He certainly solidified himself as one of the Premier League's greats and certainly a City legend, so much so that they're putting up a statue of the Spanish playmaker outside the Etihad. So this has clearly been a brilliant and big 24 hours for one David Silva. Our penultimate story comes from Southampton, and yesterday they came out and confirmed that captain James Ward-Prowse has signed a contract extension with the club. The 25-year-old midfielder is said to have signed a 5-year contract extension with the Saints that will see his contract now run until 2027. Ward-Prowse is a product of the Southampton Youth Academy, having been brought up through the ranks at the Saints and making his senior team debut at the age of just 16. This is more good news for the Saints, seeing one of their own commit their long-term future to the club, and follows the news of Kyle Walker-Peters officially signing on a permanent transfer last week. The England midfielder played in all 38 games last season for the Saints, scoring 5 times and assisting 3 times, and I'm sure he will look to improve upon them stats going forward. And finally, this could be a story worth keeping an eye on. This could be the biggest story of this transfer window, of this summer, of football entirely possibly, because this is a story that has come out over the past few days since a certain Champions League result came out and has just been picking up momentum ever since. Of course, I'm talking about the major news story that is developing at the sinking ship that is Barcelona, it seems, and it's news concerning Lionel Messi, who is allegedly telling the club that he wants to leave Barcelona this summer. Never thought this would happen. I thought if this was to happen, he'd leave next season when his contract is up and he'd go back to Argentina or something. But allegedly, the news broke a couple of days ago that following Barcelona's embarrassing and humiliating Champions League defeat to Bayern Munich, in which the German club triumphed 8-2 to progress to the semi-finals of that competition, news from the club then started coming out of all angles. You had rumours that the manager was to be sacked, and then yesterday he actually was. And then there was only a small handful of players that wouldn't be put up for sale during this transfer window. And then the major story broke, the big story broke, that Lionel Messi has reportedly told the club he wants to leave this summer. He wants to leave the Nou Camp, although the club themselves have denied it, and this could be huge if it's true. His contract is set to run out next summer, as I previously mentioned, making him free come January to talk to whoever he wants about a free transfer next year, and I'm sure that despite his age of 33, he will of course have a lot of attention aimed his way from many clubs. And let's face it, this might be the final nail in the Barcelona coffin for quite some time. It's a fascinating and interesting story when you look into the story of the Spanish Giants over the past few years, with a fair few managers coming and going, big name transfers that haven't quite lived up to their name or potential, and even transfers that make you scratch your head and question why would they go after someone like that when they're one of the biggest clubs in European and world football. Either way, we will continue to watch over both Barcelona and Lionel Messi in the near future, as this story, as I said, could be huge. It could be the biggest transfer story of this summer, of this window. We wait and see how this develops. And with that, that wraps up another episode of Transfer Talk. But of course, I want to know what you guys think on any of these stories. What do you make of Joe Hart's possible free transfer to Tottenham? What do you think of the story of Thiago possibly moving to Liverpool? Nico Williams signing a new contract with the Reds? What do you make of Aubameyang edging closer to extending his stay at the Emirates with Arsenal? What do you make of David Silva's return to La Liga and his transfer to Real Sociedad? And of course, I want to know your thoughts and opinions specifically on the Lionel Messi and Barcelona saga that is currently playing out over there in Spain, because that story is going to be huge and it doesn't look like it's going to be going away anytime soon. So I would love to read your thoughts, comments and opinions down in the comment section below. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things would be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Transfer Talk video. And I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video.